Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Hannah and let's talk books. So currently I am filming a video all about the English bookshops in Paris that are not Shakespeare & Company, since that seems to be the only one that anyone ever really knows or talks about. So I really wanted to showcase the other ones, and I have all the footage that I need right now, and while I went to those bookstores, I obviously purchased some books as well. So this is actually my first book haul, which is really exciting. I obviously, like you've seen my place, it is very, very tiny. So we don't really have room for books. So like if I ever did a book haul, it would have to be like once a year, and it would be like the 5 books I got in that year kind of thing. Like I just don't buy books. However, I have 8 books here that I got at one place, and then 3 more books, and I each got those at a different place for a total of 11 books, I think it is. And like that's a lot for me to get in the span of like a week and a half, so that's a pretty big deal. So I figured I would just kind of do this little book haul here. I haven't looked up any of these on Goodreads or anything. I don't even know what some of them are about really, because I got them like 2 weeks ago and have forgotten by now. But I guess let's just jump into it. We'll learn about some of these together. So the first books that I'm going to talk about are the 8 that I got from Bill and Rose's bookshop. This one is definitely considered more out of the way compared to the other bookshops, as the other ones are all just in like within like a 10 to 15 minute walking distance of each other. So you know how some places have that like blind date with a book, where they'll have a book like covered in like grocery store bag paper, whatever the heck you call it. It'll just be wrapped up and with just like the description on it. Well, they had 2 books that were wrapped up and it just said the genre they were, and it was just €3, so I figured I'd give it a try. So these are the 2 books that came from that package. We have Valediction by Robert B. Parker, which is this one and has a very, very shiny cover. And then Death of a Partner by Janet Neal. So this one is labeled as a crime and mystery, and as you can tell by like the freaking cross on the gun, has to do with like some religious stuff. On the back it says, they didn't do construction and they didn't do Bible study, they did kneecaps. So this one's probably going to be a bit ridiculous, but I do want to try them out just because I paid for them. And this other one also says crime mystery, even though like these were labeled as thrillers, I think it was, so that's a little suspicious. But this is another one about a chief inspector, so those will probably be kind of quickish reads at some point. Not sure when I'll get to them though. I'm having a bit of an issue with my phone with the storage on it. I don't really understand what's happening, but I think I figured it out. So if the frame keeps changing a little bit, it's because I had to mess with my phone a bit. But anyway, the next book is one that I actually got from the free bin outside of Bill and Rose's. They actually had some pretty cool books in there. They had like Handmaid's Tale and stuff, but they consider them unsellable because they have like highlighting and stuff in it. But like this is nothing major, so I was actually kind of surprised at the books they had in there. But this is H.G. Wells' The Island of Dr. Moreau, and it also has some other stories in here. So I just started that, so that's why I have the bookmark in here. And I mean, for free, you can't beat it, especially since it's a story that I have been wanting to read for quite a while, actually. So I've read The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells, if I can talk correctly. I have War of the Worlds on my tablet that I still need to read. And so then now I have this that I'm currently reading. I literally know nothing about this story, so I'm really looking forward to getting into this. I've only read the first 2 or 3 chapters, and pretty much all it's been about is a shipwreck and like the lone survivor from that. So we will see what happens in here. Next I have The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. I had gotten this from my library once before, but I didn't like the edition that they had, and it was formatted a bit weird, so I wanted to pick this up because I do still want to give this one a try. It'll definitely be a quick read, as the font is pretty big in here. I mean, obviously this isn't the best edition because it has the stupid permanent sticker of like, now it's a movie kind of thing, but still, looking forward to reading that as well. Next I have a book that the woman that was working there, when she saw me grab it out of the shelf, she highly recommended it, and that is Roald Dahl's Book of Ghost Stories. So obviously by the title at first you're just like, oh, this is a collection of ghost stories that he wrote. That is incorrect. Let me see what the number is in here. 14 of his favorite tales by such authors as E.F. Benson, Rosemary Timperley, and Edith Wharton. So obviously, since this is a collection of ghost stories, I could not pass it up. And knowing that these are Roald Dahl's favorites, like, that just kind of adds the icing on the cake for me. So this was definitely a must buy, and I definitely look forward to getting into this. I'm currently planning on reading a lot of my horror anthologies for October, so I'm not sure if I'll hold on to this until then or if I'll pick it up a bit earlier, but we will see. Next book is the iconic Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. I actually have a collection of all 3 of the books, I think it is, that's like in one giant book, but that's in the US, and so I don't have that, and the library copy is literally falling apart. And I really want to take my time with this one, so I picked this copy up, especially since it's just a really, like, simplistic one with just the black and the red. And also the font isn't too bad. I've noticed in a lot of these, they're so tiny, and I'm just like, I don't want to kill my eyeballs trying to read this. So I grabbed that. And next is a book that I really don't know anything about. I read the description when I was there, obviously, but, like, I have forgotten by now. And that is Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. So I'm actually going to look this up at Goodreads. And I'm curious what, like, the average rating for this is, especially since I know nothing. Okay, so this is the first in a series, apparently. And it has an average of 3.95, and that's out of 59,000 ratings, so that's not bad either. But the description of this is basically about a desert nation. There's mythical beasts. It talks about mortals, so apparently there are immortals. There's stuff about a djinn and magic. So, oh yeah, the main character is a freaking gunslinger. That's why I picked this up. That's right. So it's definitely branches genres with magic and gunslinging and stuff. So that just kind of sounded interesting, and obviously, like, the cover looks really nice. I don't know if the inside here is special at all. Oh no, it's not. But what year did this come out even? Oh, 2016. But yeah, it looks interesting, and I figured I'd give it a try. And finally, from Bill and Rose's bookshop, I got Eleanor, Oliphant is Completely Fine, which is a book that you've probably heard before. It's been all over BookTube and Book Talk and everything. This is by Gail Honeyman, and I don't really remember what this is about, but I know it has really good reviews, and it was one that I was interested in. Oh, I did not just notice this before. It's a crossword. That's interesting. And let's see. Oh, it's just orange for the underneath the dust jacket. But what is this book about? It says Eleanor Oliphant has learned how to survive but not how to live, and that's all it says, because then there's just blurbs. She wears the same clothes to work every day, eats the same meals. She is happy, nothing is missing, except sometimes everything. So I feel like this is a book I'm going to be able to relate to a lot, probably, and most people probably can as well, which is probably why it's so popular. So this next book is the one book that I got from Smith & Sons here in Paris. It was the first time I had been to this one, which it had also been my first time for Bill and Rose's as well, so these two were both new to me, but they have some really cool editions of stuff there. So I picked up the Gothic Tales of H.P. Lovecraft, and just look at this cover for a moment, bask in its glory. And this is the back side. It's just, I hope you can see why I got this. So back in the US, I actually have this huge ass book of, I don't know if it's all or most. I imagine it's probably just most of H.P. Lovecraft stories, but yeah, that's not here. And this is an amazing edition, and it's just the Gothic one. So, like, I'm kind of into things being separated by, like the Roald Dahl one, that's ghost stories. This one's Gothic. I have one that's haunted castles. I'm kind of liking when they're separated by a certain theme, and it's not just, like, all of the horror stories kind of thing. But let's see what some of the ones in here are. I'll list some of them real quick. In this one, it says it's edited by Xavier Aldana Reyes, I think is how you pronounce that last name. So we have, like, The Alchemist, The Tomb, which I think I've read The Tomb before, if I'm not mistaken. The Moonbog, The Music of Eric Zahn, The Outsider, The Hound, The Lurking Fear. I cannot talk. The Festival, The Shunned House, Cool Air, The Strange High House in the Mist, The Dreams in the Witch House, and The Hunter of the Dark. So this is one I'm definitely looking forward to diving into, and it's probably one that I will read for Halloween time as well. Next is the book that I got from the San Francisco Book Company, and that is The Dragon Hunt, yes, by Tran Vu. So this is also short stories. I definitely tell I enjoy that at the moment. So this one, the stories kind of encompass many different genres. Like, it talks about a boat full of refugees run aground on a coral reef. A sister and brother engage in a bizarre passion play inside a stifling Paris apartment. It talks about how this is a world of twisted eroticism and Baroque pageantry. Characters possess an infinite capacity for tenderness and cruelty. So it's like all kind of sorts of different things based on his experiences, because him and his older brother fled from Vietnam by a boat, and they survived a shipwreck. They were in a refugee camp for a year in the Philippines, and then he was brought to France, which is where he currently lives. So that's kind of why I wanted to pick this up. There's the connection to France and everything, but it's also just like a unique perspective, and on like it's a pretty tiny book, so I'm definitely interested in reading these because I feel like they're going to be very unique. And then finally, I know this is a pretty quick book haul, definitely not big, but honestly, like, since I haven't read them, I don't have much to say. So finally, I got this one at the Red Wheelbarrow bookstore, and which is right next to the Jardin de Luxembourg, which is a really nice garden. And that is Haunted Castles, The Complete Gothic Stories by Ray Russell. And look at that cover too. I really enjoy that. So this says, horror legend Ray Russell's haunting and macabre stories, including Sardonicus, perhaps the finest example of the modern Gothic ever written. And that quote at the end there is by Stephen King. So I actually have not heard of this author before, Ray Russell, and so I'm just like, I feel like I'm out of the loop a bit there. So I'll definitely have to look up some of his other works. And apparently he really likes using S in his titles, because it says, the famously terrifying novella trio of Sardonicus, Sagittarius, and Sanguinarius. But yeah, Haunted Castles, like, that, I enjoy that a lot. Like, that's right up my alley. So looking forward to checking that out. And once again, this is probably going to be one of the ones I read for Halloween, but there are only 7 stories in here. Oh yeah, there's also a foreword by Guillermo del Toro, which I didn't realize at first either. So these are definitely going to be more longer stories. Well, longer in terms of like the short story world. But yeah, I got quite a lot of horror in here and some interesting stuff. So I'm excited to start reading these, and now I need to figure out how to organize them on this new like bookshelf we put on top of our wardrobe over there. So that is everything that I have gotten in like the past 2 weeks. So thank you for hanging out with me and kind of going through those. And until next time, bonne journée and au revoir.